All right, everybody. Looking forward to hanging out with you for a minute. I did want to say something a little strange, maybe. Wanted you to see my shirt. See that, baby? I'm just letting you know what a dork I am. But I'm also I'm doing today's show in honor of my grandson, Gus, and he and I have matching shirts. So I just wanted my grandson to see how cool we can both be with our Hulk shirts. All right. Continuing in the vein we're always in. How can I pull the weeds in my soul and have more of the life that God wants me to have? Live more like the abundant life that God promised us. So what we're going to do, it's going to be a little tricky today because I'm going to give you a couple things to think about, use my own story woven in there. And I will post a link to a sheet of notes. Probably, I've got a pretty busy day, so it may not be till later today. But come back and check it out. And there's a sheet that'll help you. And we're probably going to stay in this vein for a couple of weeks. We're still talking about Sabbath. We're still talking about how to use stopping inside and outside and writing to just to bring us into freedom, to identify, challenge, and change. Identify, challenge, and change the tormenting patterns that we have. All right. There's a book called Atomic Habits. Really good book, and it's one of many. There's a bunch of books out there on habits and habit formation and breaking habits and all that. And it's probably an oversimplification, but in a sense, that's what we're really talking about. I mentioned last week, or in the last couple of weeks, your lazy brain. And what I mean by that is your brain likes to do something often enough, repeatedly enough, to where it stores the memory of it, and then it can just hit the button and go back into it, and without you even thinking about it. So the books on habit, what they do is they try to break it down into the fewest possible steps. And I like the Atomic Habit book. It's well written, good stuff. And I don't have it here. Well, you know what? I got the cover of it. That's what it looks like. And but here's the 4 steps of behavior that we feel trapped in. Like Romans 7 says, the thing that I want to do, I don't do. The thing that I don't want to do, I do. Gosh, how miserable can you be? Who's going to deliver me from this? And the point is, and this is the thing that's been tricky, being a Christian and being a Christian on the charismatic end of things that believes, excuse me, in the supernatural. Some things are an event and some things are a process. And I would say that in the context of what we're talking about, the journey into and toward freedom is a process, not an event. And there's Ephesians 4, we've been talking about, put off the old man, be renewed in the spirit of your mind, put on the new man. And that's a fairly involved commitment of time and energy to identify, challenge, and change. Identify, challenge, and change your thoughts, belief, and behavior. So, Atomic Habits, and again, there's lots of books out there on habit. There's some on what they call mini habits. A lot of really good stuff to just provoke your thinking. But in the Atomic Habits, his cycle is this. There's a trigger, and I'll explain this in a minute. There's a trigger which creates a craving, and that's the one that he includes. Most have 3 steps. He adds this one, the 4th, for him. And I like it, and I'll explain why in a second. So, a triggering event or incident creates a craving, which stimulates a response, which gets us a reward. Now, the bottom line is this. I've learned 40 years working with people, we don't repeat anything that doesn't reward us. Now, don't automatically say, well, that can't be true, because it just doesn't make sense. Here's the deal, guys. Your mind, will, and emotions don't necessarily have to be logical or rational. But, well, they are logical, but they may not be rational. In other words, what you're getting as a reward might be the avoidance of something you don't want. You may want to have a conversation with someone that needs to happen, and gosh, if I could just get them to stop doing this or violating my boundaries. You want to have this conversation so badly, but you hate conflict. So you hate conflict so badly that you avoid it at all costs. So the reward is avoiding conflict when you're triggered in that area of boundaries. So it doesn't always serve you well, but there is a logic to your cycle. And the reason I'm telling you that is you're going to have to learn to think that way, because that's the secret to figuring out what is that trigger connected to. And it's always a need of some kind. All right, let me say it one more time. There's a triggering situation which creates a craving, which stimulates a response, which gets you a reward. All right, I'm going to use myself, my own journey. I'm going to talk about my biggest ongoing challenge. And what I mean by that is I still have to keep an eye on this little booger. It will still rise up and sabotage me at times. Let me just say hello to my boy Gus in case he's watching. All right, and in case you didn't hear at the beginning, this is a T-shirt my grandson and I, Gus, wear together. And I know I'm a bit of a dork, but you know what I mean. All right, so trigger, craving, response, reward. Trigger, craving, response, reward. All right, my biggest area of triggering is having to do with my relationship with my father. And it has to do with my feeling like I'm not competent. So my trigger, in other words, what triggers that cycle in me, I can be cruising along doing great and get in a room full of leaders or competent, type A driven, achieving people that get stuff done. and I have to be on guard, because what it triggers in me is you're a disappointment. You're not good at getting things done. You're not good with details. You're not. And again, a lot of it goes back to my father. You're lazy, you'll never amount to anything, and all that kind of stuff. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of the times I'm in a room full of people that really are good at things that I'm not good at. But that's not really the point. And we'll chase that rabbit another time. So my trigger, I'm walking into a room with people I respect, people I admire even, for what they're capable of doing that I'm not. All right. That's the trigger. What's the craving? Trigger, craving, response, reward. What's the craving that it creates in me? I want to belong. I want to be accepted. I want to be seen. I want to be valued. I want to feel like I'm one of the boys. And in a way I am, but in a way I'm not. Because I'm not good at what they're good at. They're great at baseball. I play soccer. And it's like, we don't always have the same language. And so the trigger is being around people different from me, better than me at things. The craving it produces or awakens in me is the need to belong and to feel valued and appreciated. Now, how many of you have ever heard this statement before? I see what I'm looking for. You see what you're looking for. My wife and I want to get a certain kind of car, and you start looking it up on internet. For the next week, all you see is that car. Why? Because you've told your brain, be on your toes, find me that car, and it goes looking for it. Well, the same thing happens with rejection. I have a deep craving to feel belonging, which means I fear rejection, which we all do. And so what happens is I see what I'm looking for. So I go in the room, and instead of noticing the 2 or 3 people that have looked at me and said, hey, what's up, man? I see the people that just kind of looked at me and turned away. Like, you're not even worth having a conversation with. And you see what you're looking for, and that craving is inflamed. All right, what does that create? Well, it creates a feeling of insecurity, inferiority. Does it make me kind of present my best self in the room? No. Now, What's my response? Oh, your response is that bad feeling of rejection. No, my response is I start judging. I start judging everyone in the room. Well, you're just a selfish turd. All you care about is how many people you got in your church or how many books you've written and now I don't do this consciously, I don't do it intentionally, but it's a habit. A habit. Trigger, craving, response. What's the reward of judging those people? I feel justified. It's my way of saying I'm not going to allow you to hurt me because I'm going to devalue you. Instead of dealing with what I'm really feeling about myself, I'm going to devalue you so you can't hurt me. So my reward is to feel superior to them. Now, I hope you understand, guys, there's a rational logic to that, but it's not healthy, man. And it's not getting me what I want. All right, I'm going to run through it real quick, and then we're done for today. Trigger, craving, response, reward. Trigger, craving, response, reward. What I want you to slowly learn to do is find those cravings, responses, and reward. Because what they're really built around is legitimate needs. In other words, remember something we talk about all the time. Most destructive cycles we get caught in, listen now, are meeting a right need the wrong way. A right need the wrong way. A right need the wrong way. Is it wrong to want to belong? No. Is it wrong to go through this cycle of judging and diminished? Not helpful. All right, we're going to build on this as we go forward in the next few weeks. All right, love you guys. Love my boy Gus.